Option 1, you get $500,000 right now. Option 2, you get $50 a month for life. Obviously, you'd pick the second one because it's passive income. What's up, guys? It's Avery here. In today's video, I'm going to go over 10 passive income ideas that you could start. And with each of those ideas, I'm going to go over a setup component, the time component, as well as money needed to start that specific passive income idea. But before we talk about those 10 ideas, let's get into what exactly is passive income. The idea of passive income is talked a lot about on the internet because it's cool, you can do less work and still earn some money. But the thing about passive income does not mean that you can do nothing. There is still work associated with it. It's not the exact opposite of active income where you're exactly trading your time for money, but instead you're trading your upfront effort and maybe some money to make a lot more money in the long run and set something up that can be an income stream for you that you will have to work a lot less hours every single week, month, or year compared to that active income style of job. Now that we've established it does take some work to set up all 10 of these passive income ideas, make sure that if you don't want to do any work that you get off this video, but if you want to stay, make sure you go ahead and click that like button and then I can go over all 10 of these ideas, with the first one being dividend investing. Dividend investing is by far one of the most passive ways that you could earn some income. You are able to just buy stocks and they could potentially go up, potentially go down, but just for owning that specific share of a stock, you get some money. A typical example of this might be that if you own a stock and it is worth $100 and the dividend yield is 2%, then you will get $2 every single year for every amount of share of stock that you own for that specific company, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like free money. Although when you're thinking about it, make sure you understand that that is taxable. So if you're trying to build a dividend heavy portfolio, you will be taxed on that income every single time that you get paid. Dividends are very cool. It's definitely up there with one of the most passive ways that you could earn some income, as well. It has a really low startup time. There's a lot of awesome ETFs out there, and I actually just recently made a video where you can check it out up here or the description below about some dividend ETFs that you could invest in, or some dividend heavy companies where just by owning them, you can get a lot of these dividends, and it might only take you 24, 48 hours a week of research in order to figure out where you should actually put that money so you can start earning some dividends. So it's really not that much upfront work. One negative thing about dividend investing and using it as a source of passive income is it will take a lot of money and a lot of time to work up if you don't already have money on hand, because you're going to need a lot of money invested into these ETFs or these dividend stocks in order to actually get them to start paying for things like your rent or your mortgage, your car payment, or other fixed expenses you may have. For example, if you spend $20,000 a year, which is definitely on the low end, you would need $1 million invested into dividend stocks in order for that dividend income to cover all of your expenses for the year. The next idea for passive income isn't all too different to dividend investing, but it can be seen differently in the crypto space. It would be known as crypto staking, or earning interest on cryptocurrency accounts. And this is really awesome because you can get the gains or potential big losses of cryptocurrency, but while you're in there, you can hedge against some of that volatility while earning some interest, or having your money be staked, your cryptocurrency be staked, so that you can earn some interest just for keeping it in the platform. This is a very cool form of passive income because you can earn some pretty high interest on some of these blue chip cryptocurrency tokens, where you can get 4 or 5, even up to 10% interest on that cryptocurrency you own. There are some websites out there where you can get thousands or really high percentage points of interest on your cryptocurrency, and that is definitely very risky. I would stay away from some of that stuff, but there are some platforms like BlockFi that I use where you can earn 4 or 5% on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So similar to investing in dividends, investing in cryptocurrency and then staking or getting interest associated with that cryptocurrency is a very passive way to earn some money, but I would say this is far more volatile than just having your money in an ETF or a blue chip stock that is paying out dividends, because the cryptocurrency market is still highly volatile. But if you have a long-term view and think cryptocurrency is something that will be the future, which I think there's a lot of utility for it, then it's fine if you keep that money in there and then continue earning that interest over time. Passive idea number 3 would be that you could rent out your car. Many of us have a car, many of us now work from home, and we do not utilize that car. So you could go ahead while you're not using the car either during the week, or if you don't even need it on the weekend, and then rent it out on some apps like GetAround or Turo. Now, this can be very passive actually if you set it up like a business rather than not like a business, because some people might want to meet someone every single time they're renting the car out, hand them the keys, make sure they're cleaning it out themselves and doing everything necessary to make sure the person renting out the car from them has a good experience and gives you a good review. But it would be far better if you get someone else to clean it out, make sure you have a way for the customer to actually get into the car without you physically being there, so that it is actually a passive investment and you're not doing a bunch of work to get that income. Starting a car rental business on GetAround or Turo is a great way to get some cash flow, and it allows you to work fairly passively as long as you set it up so, and you can not just rent out your car that you own at home, but you could start leasing out other cars and then renting them out for more than the cost of your lease, and that's where you're going to start making some money. The only thing I don't love about this idea of passive income is that you can't really depreciate or have cool tax deductions. The car doesn't really go up in value. I know in the last couple of years things have been a little bit different and cars have gone up in value, but in a normal lifestyle, things do not necessarily happen like that, and you don't have as many good benefits as some of the other ideas for passive income that I'm going to talk about. Oh yeah, and the other thing that's important when it comes to this passive income idea is you need a car, and it costs money to buy a car, so it's more expensive to get in than just say dividend investing or crypto staking and crypto interest accounts. Number 4, and this is one of my favorite ideas for passive income, and it is easily the most passive income that I earn in my life, is renting out some storage or parking space that you have available. So maybe you own a house and it has a driveway and it's big enough to house a boat during the winter when someone doesn't want it sitting in the water. I actually have a friend who does that. He gets a couple $100 every single month. Probably some of the easiest passive income he gets because he doesn't use that space anyway. Similarly, I have some storage space in my basement that I never use. No one uses it, so I just rent it out, and someone uses a really small portion of it, and they pay me $40 a month, and they actually haven't been in to check their storage in over 2 years. So that's really great income that I get without doing absolutely anything. And depending on what location you live, if you're in a really expensive market like New York or Boston and you're renting out your parking space, you can rent that out for $300, $400, $500 every single month. I actually know one month I had to pay for a parking space, and I paid them around $200 or $300, and this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And prices and things have gone up a lot since then, so it could be potentially very lucrative if you own some land or some space in an area where it is difficult to find parking, and you can offer off-street parking at a pretty good price to allow you to earn some passive income. Overall, I really like this idea because you aren't housing people, you are housing things and keeping stuff in storage, which complain a lot less than people might if something was wrong or couldn't be fixed, as well as the maintenance costs of maintaining a parking space or your basement storage area are very low. The 5th idea for passive income would be selling digital products. Now, there can be a decent amount of upfront work that you have to put into making that digital product, but once it's out there in the world on the internet for people to buy, then it would be 100% passive. For me, for example, I am creating and have created a course all about house hacking and a guide to investing in real estate and how you can live for free. And if you want to sign up to learn more about that course, go ahead, check down the link below, and you'll also get my free ebook all about investing in real estate and how you can house hack your way into your first rental property. And it had taken me and has taken me a lot of upfront effort to get that going. It's like 18 or 20 videos, and I put a lot of effort into making a bunch of presentations and then filming them all and editing it. But hopefully once it's out there, people are actually interested, find it valuable, and want to pay for it so I can earn some residual income for the hard work that I put into it at the beginning. And this can work for basically any type of digital product. I know I say I give my ebook away for free, but potentially you could make an ebook and sell it. I also have rental property cash flow calculators out there that you could buy, and potentially other products that I could sell along the way. So once you do a lot of the work and maybe you have an audience to sell it to, which obviously helps, so maybe you don't have to pay for ad revenue and be able to get your stuff in front of people's eyes, then you can start selling it to your audience because they trust you, believe in you, and feel like what you're saying is worth the money and worth the time. Overall, this is going to be on the mid-level of difficulty in terms of setting up passive income because you do have to have knowledge, skill to be able to build some of these products, but many of you out there do. Even if you feel like you don't, there's something that you know that other people are struggling with and you could potentially help them. And the other thing that makes it a little bit difficult is actually getting it in front of people's eyes, ranking high on search. So if you're going the route of paying for ads to get your face and your product out there, that can obviously be a little bit expensive. Or if you're going the route that I'm going and spending hours upon hours every single day trying to make your social media be a bigger presence in the world, then it's going to take a lot of time. I spend a lot of effort making YouTube videos, TikTok content, and also putting stuff on Instagram. The next idea I'm going to talk about is affiliate marketing, and affiliate marketing is definitely one of the most passive ways to earn some income, but it is pretty difficult to set up because I think for the most part you do need a pretty large following on social media because people have to see those links that you have out there so that they actually click on them. And the way this works is that you have some links that are associated with what you talk about or what your channel is about, and then when people click on it and sign up, you earn a commission. For example, in my description down below, you can get 6 free stocks as long as you put in over $1, and if you sign up and put that dollar in, I will earn a little bit of money. It supports me as a channel, and I can make some somewhat passive income because I still had to sit down, edit, and make this video so that you could see everything. But this video will be out there for a long time, and so will that affiliate partnership that I have. The next 4 that I'm going to talk about are going to be a little bit more expensive to start up, but they're going to give you massive gains over the long term and can be pretty decently passive for the amount of money that you could get from them. And that first one, and one of my favorite things of the 4, aka the 7th thing that I'm going to talk about in this idea for passive income, would be long-term rental property investing. So I currently own 5 units in the long-term rental space, and they offer me about $2,300 every single month after all of my expenses in actual pure profit, aka cash flow, as well as I have massive benefits like they've gone up in value roughly $500,000, $600,000 between them, and I also get tax benefits, and the people that are living there pay down my principal on my mortgage. So there's some great benefits. It's also built my wealth quite a bit, but obviously it can be expensive to buy a rental property, and it can be a lot of upfront work. For my own example, my very first property cost about $18,000 in order to get the down payment sorted so that I could get into the property, but it was actually pretty cheap as far as rental property investing goes because it was a $525,000 property. I only had to put that 3.5% down, lived in one unit for a year, rented out the other, and while I was there, the rents covered my entire mortgage. Now that I've moved out, it gets me roughly $1,400 a month in cash flow. And as far as the time component, it was a massive upfront amount of learning. I spent hours upon hours reading, listening to podcasts, as well as once I actually purchased the property, there was a lot to learn about managing tenants, as well as I did a number of renovations myself. But if I think about that property today, I roughly do 1 to 2 hours, maybe every single month of work on that specific property. But for the first 6 months, I would say it was almost every single hour of the day after work, especially because I was doing a lot of renovations. The 8th idea, and something that's very popular right now, and actually my next property purchase will be associated with this, would be a short-term rental property. Short-term and long-term rental property are going to be pretty similar in that you buy a property and that you rent it out, but short-term rental properties are kind of like vacation properties, and you could earn a lot more money, but you'll have to put in a decent amount more effort. And on top of putting in a decent amount more effort, you don't just have to be able to rent out a space to people, you also have to furnish it, make it a real nice experience so people want to come in and stay there, and you're also going to have a lot more people on your team. With a long-term rental property, you kind of need a handyman and not too much more than that, but with a short-term rental property, you're going to need to make sure that everything is in order from a landscaping perspective. You need to have a cleaner, you potentially need to have someone who can bring in packages to the house to you, which is not necessarily a handyman, but what would be called a runner, who can just do those little errands for you so you don't have to go to the property all the time. So that could be more effort, plus you're going to be communicating with guests a little bit more. It's not just like a long-term tenant where maybe once every 3, 4, 6 months they're just letting you know that the toilet is leaking. In this case, someone might say, how do I turn on the Wi-Fi, or other questions like that. So you might have a little bit more management every single week or month as opposed to a long-term rental, but you can make a lot more money. Number 9 would be buying a business. Now this is not something that I've done. I have a friend who has bought multiple businesses. He used to be in private equity, and now he buys a lot of small businesses to relate to his real estate investing business, like construction companies and other companies like so, and you can do so pretty similarly to buying a property. You could potentially buy a business for $100, $200, $300, however many $1,000s that could be a similar cost to buying a house in your area, and then get a small business loan. So rather than going and doing all of the work of setting up and buying and making your own business and buying all the necessary equipment to get it started, you could just go ahead and buy someone else's existing business and then maybe make it better and get some of the cash flow that is associated with the business that you've bought. Now, this is going to be one that's a little bit more difficult to set up because obviously you need some money, but not too different than buying a property, but you will also need the ability to know whether it is a good cash flowing asset and it's the right business to buy. And plus, it's not like going to buy a home where you just get a real estate agent and they help you look for properties. It's going to be a different ball game where you have to figure out how to find those businesses that you could buy. There are brokers in this world where you can use them and they can help you find businesses, but it's not as straightforward and easy to look up as potentially buying a property. The 10th and final idea I have for passive income, which definitely you need money for, but you need basically no time for, would be private lending. And this is something that I'd love to do once I have more money and more things going on and less time in my life, potentially a family, and I want to just give someone else else my money and they can make a return on it. An example of this could be, instead of me going ahead and buying a duplex or a triplex or a property or potentially a short-term rental property, I could just give someone all of the money needed in order to purchase that property, furnish, buy it, renovate it, whatever it may cost, and I get a majority of stake of equity in the property, and they also get a good stake of equity in the property, but they do all of the work and I do none of the work, and I still get a lot of money associated with it, and I keep all of my time. Now obviously this is going to probably be the highest dollar amount of all of the ideas that I talked about in order for you to start it, but once you've built up some of these other passive income streams and you have money coming in and you don't feel the need to potentially do a lot of work anymore, you could just start giving your money to other people. Now there's a big example of this in the real estate world with big apartment complexes. These people don't just have tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars lying around to buy an 1,000-unit apartment complex. There's a lot of investors out there who are giving them money in order for them to buy it. And typically the minimum threshold for you to give someone so that you can invest in their massive multi-unit apartment building would be roughly $50,000. Another example, like if you bought a property like I had in Boston where it is a $750,000, $800,000 three-family, you would need the $200,000 to purchase the property, plus you would also need the money to renovate it and in case any other maintenance costs arise. So it's definitely not the cheapest thing to get in, but once you have it in and you trust that deal operator that you've given the money to, it will be 100% passive. All right, those are my 10 ideas for passive income that I have for you today. If I missed any or there's some that you really like, make sure you go ahead, put them down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos that I talk about, whether it's about building your wealth, real estate, or anything personal finance related. And if you like me here, don't forget to check me out on TikTok as well as Instagram. I make a ton of videos on those platforms as well. So thanks for watching, and more wealth is coming your way.